anything lined up. I know it's been the subject of media leaks, and sometimes those are with malicious intent, but certainly Argentina is a great partner across the board, and at the end of the day, we have tremendous faith, confidence in our relationship with President Milei and his team, and he will always act in the best interest of the people of Argentina and the national interest of his country, and so we appreciate that. And on the first point, Argentina is not just has the capability from a natural resources standpoint to be a key partner in critical minerals for the world, not just for the United States, for the world in a way that's good for Argentina. It also has expertise in processing, and which I think is also going to be critically important. So both because of geology, meaning their geographic location, and their expertise, they've already taken tremendous steps, and they were one of our featured speakers in session one. And Foreign Minister Quirino was there because of Argentina's one of the global leaders in this regard. So both because of the resources available and because of the ability to invest and the expertise they have in the processing, I think Argentina is going to be a key partner for the world, not just for the United States, and certainly being located in the Western Hemisphere is of strategic value, both to Argentina, but obviously to the United States as well.
Our next question will be from Elizabeth Hagedorn from Al Monitor.
Secretary Rubio, can you confirm the format and location of Friday's talks with Iran and clarify, given that Iran refuses to negotiate its missile program and insists on a right to enrich uranium, is the U.S. open to a compromise if that means reaching a deal to avoid military action? And separately, if I may, how exactly do these negotiations advance President Trump's repeated pledges to help the Iranian protesters, many of whom are likely to see these nuclear talks as legitimizing the very government that violently massacred its own people?
Well, let me first say just on the logistics. At the end, let me back up and say from a big picture perspective, I think it's pretty clear right now, President Trump is willing to talk to and meet with and engage with anyone in the world. I mean, that we don't view meetings as a concession. We don't view meetings as even legitimization. It is our willingness to sit and listen and talk to anyone, any adversary, any ally, obviously, but anyone around the world. And so the president's always been open to that. He showed that in the first administration, and he's showing it again now. And so I think if there's an opportunity to engage directly with counterparts in the Iranian regime, the United States would be open to that, and that's what we're open to. We thought we had an established forum that had been agreed to. In Turkey, it was put together by a number of partners who wanted to attend and be a part of it. I saw conflicting reports yesterday from the Iranian side saying that they had not agreed to that. So that's still being worked through. At the end of the day, the United States is prepared to engage and has always been prepared to engage with Iran. As far as the topic of those discussions and what the agenda needs to be, look, I think in order for talks to actually lead to something meaningful, they will have to include certain things. And that includes the range of their ballistic missiles. That includes their sponsorship of terrorist organizations across the region. That includes the nuclear program, and that includes the treatment of their own people. The fundamental problem Iran faces and the regime faces right now is that what people are on the streets complaining about, this regime cannot address. They cannot address it because it's economic. Those problems remain. And one of the reasons why the Iranian regime cannot provide the people of Iran the quality of life that they deserve is because they're spending all their money, they're spending all their resources of what is a rich country, sponsoring terrorism, sponsoring all these proxy groups around the world, exporting, as they call it, their revolution. But I remind everybody what I've been saying through my entire career in public service. I said it in my hearing when I was asking for confirmation through the Senate. The Iranian people and the Iranian regime are very unalike. In essence, what the Iranian people want, this is a culture with a deep history. These are people that are the leadership of Iran at the clerical level does not reflect the people of Iran. I know of no other country where there's a bigger difference between the people that lead the country and the people who live there. And so our hope resides in that. As far as the president's views on the way protesters were treated, he was very clear about it. And as you saw, part of what the president said publicly prevented mass executions that were being planned and we're on the precipice of. And obviously beyond that, the president retains a number of options to how he responds to that and future events. But as far as the talks are concerned, I think the Iranians had agreed to a certain format. For whatever reason, it's changed in their system or what have you. We'll see if we can get back to the right place. But the United States is prepared to meet with them. I think it was scheduled for Friday. Steve is ready to go. He'll be prepared for that. If the Iranians want to meet, we're ready. They've expressed an interest in meeting and talking. If they change their mind, we're fine with that too. We'd prefer to meet and talk, I'm not sure you can reach a deal with these guys, but we're going to try to find out. We don't see there's any harm in trying to figure out there's something that can be done. This is a president that always prefers a peaceful outcome to any conflict or any challenge.
We have time for one final question. This one from Nahoufal and Ari from Maghreb Arab Press.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Nofan Hari, Morocco's news agency. My question is with regard to African countries, including Morocco, who is participating today. How do you envision their role in this ministerial and in the forum going forward?
Well, again, it's the same. First of all, this, as I've highlighted before, this is an American initiative to bring people together. We want to serve as the convener, but this is a global challenge. There is not a country in the world that doesn't face this challenge of critical mineral supply chains, just from the perspective of trying to grow economically. Okay, everybody wants to be an AI. Everybody wants a center. Everyone wants to advance industrially and technologically. Everyone wants to be able to defend their national security. All of these things, whether it's a cell phone, a computer, a semiconductor facility, or the weapons that protect your country, all of these things have to be built with components. And these components invariably involve critical minerals that don't just have to be mined, they have to be processed. So every country has that interest, to have a global supply of critical minerals, not just the raw material, but the processed material that is usable for an industrial capacity. And Morocco shares that with everybody. Second is, every country in the world has, even though they call it rare earth and critical, and they're not really that rare, every country has some deposits of critical minerals. They're different ones in different parts of the world. And so I think Morocco, like any country in the world, would want to be able to use those natural resources in an environmentally responsible way to develop its own economy. And not just the mining, but potentially moving to the processing as well. And so what you look at is, if every country in the world has strategic advantages in terms of what it can mine and when it can process, you want to create a network of countries, as many as possible across the world, where we have a reliable supply of critical minerals. This is critical for Morocco, and they can play a very key role because they do have critical mineral supplies that they can be mining, and that creates economic development. But I also think they have a vested interest, like every country I think does, in having a reliable and diverse supply across the world of processed and finished and refined materials that can be used for economic advancement in a cost-effective way. So I think Morocco plays a key role because of the deposits that it has, but also because of its willingness to invest in processing and its cooperation and being willing to be a part of this global initiative, which it will have to be a global initiative. No country in the world has every critical mineral that's valuable, and so it will rely on international cooperation. That right now, you have 90-something% of some of these elements controlled by one nation in one place. And that's just not healthy for the global economy, and it's certainly not healthy for security and stability. So Morocco can be a key part of that, and we're very happy they're here today and seated there at the table with us. So, okay.
Thank you. This concludes today's
And
press
I
availability.
apologize. I love doing long press conferences. I do a longer one, but we got to use this for the family photo.